What a lovely night in the woods. So quiet and peaceful, isn't it, Tay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's that? Is that a spaceship? Oh my God! Look, there's a space. We're gonna have to tell a pod about this. Look at this spaceship. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Is that fucking Joe Biden?
The president has a big stick.
Hello and welcome to Haunts, Graves, and Omens.
Welcome.
My name is Fred Stewart. I'm slightly off of frame because I didn't set up cameras, but now I'm totally in frame. With me, as always, is my lovely co-host,
It's me. It's Taylor. Hi.
who's also kind of off frame.
That's okay.
And together we make up the power couple that is Haunts, Graves, and Omens.
Hello.
Up top. See? Non-psychopathic way to high-five somebody.
I can't high five with my
Lessons, you know, you learn something new every day. Don't do that. I do have a new story that I did want to bring up initially off the rip here.
Here you go.
So this actually comes from the Northwest, and it comes from Oregon. It was out there in Clackamas, Oregon, which is actually not that far away from us.
Right. No, it is not.
As we are located in Portland. So it's states that a man identified as TC in the papers ate a decent amount of salad while at a Red Robin there in Clackamas, Oregon, before realizing his salad was coated with and concealed with human semen. So
Yeah.
there's cum in the salad, which if it was a if it was an at-home thing, could whatever, if that was somebody's fetish and they're at home, not at a Red Robin. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's illegal. It's against the rules of Red Robin for you to do any sort of fetishizing of Red Robin at a Red Robin.
I mean, probably.
Probably frowned upon.
Yeah. Probably.
Probably.
But I also don't think it's legal to do that anyways.
No, it's legal to eat cum or have somebody eat cum, but it's only if they consent. Consent is important. Mr. DC did not consent to eating cum. So it's alleged that he is a black male, and they alleged that when he came in that they were referring to his group as a big gang. So not only are they being racist towards him and his family, but they somebody cummed in his fucking salad. Basically, he reported that he threw up and snapped pictures of the substance in his napkin. Laboratory tests confirmed that it was human genetic material, and he is suing Red Robin for $1 million in sexual abuse, negligence, and racial discrimination in the Multnomah County Circuit Court.
Which, honestly...
I hope he fucking wins.
Same. When I first saw this story, I was like, there's no reason anyone needs to sue a Red Robins for $1 million. And then I read the story, and I was like, nope, there's a reason to sue a Red
Yeah, because they're
Robin
coming
for
in
$1
food.
million.
They're coming in food. Yeah.
I was like, there's no reason. I bet it's just like a frivolous like a lawsuit. No, it's not.
No, and I'm going to go on the record here and say, just for the sake of us not getting sued, not in every Red Robin will you find cum in your salad, just this one. Also, Charlie Haggard's fucking camera, because I didn't set up the other one. So,
It's fine.
just that one, there's a chance you'll find cum inside of your salad.
I feel like, why?
Why? That's probably yeah.
Like,
I've heard of people spitting in food.
oh yeah. No,
That's like a thing where they're like,
Absolutely.
this lady's being a Karen, and they're like, and they spit in her pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking bitch.
absolutely
But
have heard of that.
Coming on it like
That seems like a lot of effort.
yeah, dude. Because you spit in someone's food, it's quick, it's easy, it's over, and you and your rest of your scumbag chefs can all be like, fucking bitch, But this, there's I'm gonna come in the food, and it's like, and then he fucking drops them, and then it's just and you turn down the lights, fucking trying to whack it, stand up.
It just seems like a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort, unless you already got that shit prepackaged.
Then I have more questions.
Yeah. I mean, most, high quality kitchens, look at the back, it's blue cheese, ranch, cum jar, onions.
Italian dressing.
Italian dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in there.
Of course. I've never worked in the food industry, so I don't know how it goes.
Yeah. Komodo dragon meat, etc.
I don't think that's true.
You just said you've never worked in a kitchen, so you have no idea. So it's neither have I. You just it's back in there. It's tucked in the back.
Oh, okay.
That way
you gotta you gotta ask for it. You gotta have a
I wonder
password.
what's the food services people that come in and like check everything? Health inspectors?
Yes.
You think health inspectors came in, they're like, okay, your ketchup's good, your mustard's good, and come, and and they have to go back and look, and they're like, oh, it is labeled. This one's not labeled. When was this one done?
This one's a week expired though, so
Your comes a week expired. You know it only has 1 week shelf life. you know that. You guys know that. Why are we keeping 2-week-old cum in a fucking cup in the fridge? You know what's even worse? Stored just underneath the meat. What are you guys doing? But no, for real, it is super fucking gross.
It's so fucked up, and it seems like so much fucking. Hello? Oh, okay, we're good. Probably. It just seems like a lot of effort and fucking disgusting. Like
Yeah,
what?
man. No, there's no need to be coming to people's food.
Like, also, from what it sounds like, they didn't really do anything.
No, from what it sounds like.
He was just trying to go get food with his family, and then got racially slandered and then sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Like,
you know?
It didn't even sound like he did anything.
No.
He was just like, yeah, I want to go get food with my
I think
family.
you're finally understanding what racism is. That's what that is. It's just he hasn't done anything. He just wanted to go spend his money at a fucking Red Robin like everybody else and have just a time with some mediocre at best food. And someone decided, a chef in the back who probably chain smokes cigarettes and has a felony is a racist.
Was it the chef or was it the line cook?
It was the line cook.
Yeah.
That's line cook. That's line cook behavior. Is what that is. Yeah. It's not. It's like sous chef, come in the salad. Like, yeah, chef.
We're good.
Yeah.
There's like no good place to put my drink.
Wow.
We're doing great. I'm doing great.
I'm still not over the fact. We never got an update about the ship already cans in Portland that were committing a sewer slide, right?
No.
Okay.
No, they just. I honestly have not seen any follow up, so I think it was just a one and done story. They were like, we did our job.
Oh, also we did have some other news from Portland that I got to kind of witness firsthand. I saw the smoke trail of it when I was on the highway, but it was all the propane that was being towed by a vehicle, and it was like hundreds of pounds of propane. Shit caught on fire. Dude dropped the trailer in the middle of Interstate 5 and then left while it proceeded to explode. So we're doing great out here. All right. People are coming in salads and shit's being left on fire in the middle of interstates.
Did you see that they found a kinkajou in Washington?
I was about to make a joke. What? No. They found a kinkajou?
Yeah. The little critters. Yeah, he was just in Washington. I don't remember the full story, but I just saw
I thought you were talking about Nate for a second. Context. Our roommate Nate, who's been on the dock, is Jewish, and he's a kinkajou. So he's up there.
Yeah, so it was a kinkajou found at a Washington rest stop. Is now getting a temporary zoo home.
That's fine.
He was just found wandering at a rest stop.
Just hanging out,
He's traveling.
Pretty sure that's where they spawn, actually.
This is the rest stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you mine 3 blocks down and go to the right, dude, you'll find the spawner down there.
Yeah, he was just there. I mean, they didn't really... He didn't really do anything.
Didn't beat it to death or something?
No, surprisingly. Nothing happened.
Come back around. Full circle.
We're doing great.
Uh-huh.
He's just hanging out at the Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium in quarantine. And then they're just going to investigate his origins and figure out where the fuck he came from.
What if he's like Scottish? That'd be cool.
Probably not.
Oh.
They're from Mexico and Brazil. So. Well, Mexico to Brazil. So all of the lower Americas. He's probably
So not Scottish.
I'm going to go on a limb and say no.
Okay. Well, Tay, you wrote today's episode, and I was like, oh, what are we covering? And you said, you gave me a very vague answer, and then I was like, I know what this is. I know what this is. And I was like, is it in this state? ...
Yeah.
And then you went, yeah. And I'm like, I'm fucking too much online. I'm online all the time.
It is pretty out of pocket. I mean, maybe not for this podcast, but like you weren't gonna guess it.
You literally start doing episodes about guys fucking aliens constantly.
Yep.
Be like, he dicked down the alien so fucking hard. He blew this alien's back out. But this is out of pocket? I don't think so.
Okay. By out of pocket, I mean in the scheme of episodes that I usually choose. You get aliens. You got like normal cryptids.
Yes.
And then I hit you with this one that's kind of a combo.
It's not really out of pocket. It's not what that'd be.
You weren't gonna guess it.
That doesn't mean it's out of pocket. It's not what that means.
You know what? The man fucking the alien was definitely both of those.
Oh yeah.
Those 3 episodes or 4. We have 4 episodes.
Great.
I think they were both 2-parters.
Listen, Tay, I'm ready to get into it. Go and get into it. I gotta grab something real quick. You go ahead and start. You tell the fucking story about aliens.
All right. So we're gonna be talking about some sightings in Pennsylvania. We're talking about Pennsylvania today. You're leaving. And then when it comes to the Bigfoot mystery, there's a lot of theories as to what the creatures are, where they come from. We talked about it in our Bigfoot episode fucking like 2 years ago at this point. It was like one of the first episodes that we did. I could never do a podcast on my own because I need the banter.
I was gone for literally a minute.
I need the banter.
Yes. I'm here.
It's weird when I don't have the person next to me. You know, it's weird. I don't like it. So yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about Bigfoot and the types of Bigfoot.
Big feets.
I was gonna say big feet, but I had to think about it.
I believe it is technically big feet.
Is it?
I believe so.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Or Bigfoots.
Sasquatches.
Sasquatches.
Sasquatch eye.
You're a Sasquatch? Wasn't that funny?
It got me. I wasn't expecting. It wasn't something I was expecting. So a lot of the Bigfoot sightings, beyond anything else, that have been reported in Pennsylvania are perhaps the most well-known and most famous paranormal phenomena.
I would have to disagree. I feel like the ones in the Pacific Northwest are way more known.
Reported in the state is what I said.
Oh.
So in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah. Obviously, of course. Like, that's the dumbest statistic ever.
Well, I mean,
of like, well, listen, like, it's the most reported Bigfoot sightings, and they're like, well, in your state, it's like, yeah, because there's not other Bigfoot sightings in your state.
Paranormal phenomena in general. So like it's.
Oh, in general. Like including ghosts and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Infamous, like you also got the Kecksburg UFO crash.
No idea.
You don't know about that one?
No.
Me neither. We'll cover it.
Okay.
Episode.
You guys are starting to see a little bit too far into the roster. Need you to mind your own right now, okay?
My favorite is when we're just like,
oh, we should talk about that. Yeah.
I'm like, you know about that? No, me neither. We're going to find out today.
Yeah. But then it's like,
The Hicksburg UFO incident is where a man finds a crashed UFO and fucks the bodies of the aliens.
and then you're like, that's a Taylor episode. If I've ever heard it.
I mean,
It's like, yeah, then he fell in love with the alien. He fell in love with it.
and then he made 80 paintings of his encounter.
Honestly, dude, that dude making those 80 paintings of him fucking aliens, it's just him flexing. It's like, I get pussy, but you don't. And mine's out of this world.
I was going to say it's not even human. Like,
This shit is out of this world.
You know what I mean? Like, we get it, dude. You're flexing. But yes, so in Pennsylvania,
yeah.
they primarily see Sasquatch. They primarily have Sasquatch sightings. Rewind. They primarily have Sasquatch sightings versus like ghost sightings and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, this one is like probably one of the most well-known cases come out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, what other paranormal things do you know about Pennsylvania?
The Dracula-like character that was a pen.
I don't think
His name was Pennsylvania.
so.
I think so.
Anything else?
Yeah, there was a guy in Pennsylvania who he was called the fart handler, and he would go around and steal people's farts. It's a cryptid of sorts.
Of sorts.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about him. He would you'd be like halfway through a decent at best.
It's a very well kept secret.
Yeah, well, decent at best, having a decent at best fart, and then he would come up and he would steal it out of your body, put it in his fart bag.
Fart bag sounds like an insult.
Anyway, your fart bag. Let's go ahead and continue.
Okay. So, sightings of UFOs in conjunction with Bigfoot-like creatures in Pennsylvania during the 60s through the 80s were actually surprisingly common. However, most cases, an object is seen in the sky, and a Bigfoot might be seen on the ground going towards or coming away from the flying object. Yet, while there is a significant stack of sightings, there are only a few that are weird enough that they almost have to be connected. So, many of these accounts were collected by Stan Gordon and appear in a lot of his books, such as The Silent Invasion, the UFO-Bigfoot Casebook. Did I say that right?
What?
I said words and then I don't remember what I said. The UFO-Bigfoot Casebook. It's very hard to say that five times fast.
Bigfoot UFO casebook? UFO Bigfoot UFO casebook? Bigfoot UFO
Bigfoot Casebook.
It's a UFO Bigfoot casebook.
Yeah, say it 5 times fast.
UFO Bigfoot casebook, UFO Bigfoot casebook, UFO Bigfoot casebook, UFO Bigfoot casebook. But yeah, this
It's a struggle.
It is a struggle. When I first, I've heard this case before. All these cases, but it was it's really opened my eyes, and I started looking into this phenomenon on my own a few years ago when I heard about this phenomena that where there are UFO sightings, there are Bigfoot sightings, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
So I went back and I kind of looked at more in the Washington area, places that I know have Bigfoot sightings, places that I've been to, places where I've seen weird shit in the sky, and out there, and a lot of people would have this thing of them seeing something weird in the sky, and then that night someone would supposedly see a Bigfoot or supposedly see this thing.
Yeah.
And I never connected the two until I heard this story and heard these theories, and I was like, that makes so much fucking sense. That Bigfoot isn't some sort of Homo sapien regressed, but in fact, something out of this world.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few accounts that have been talked about in Stan Gordon's books, but sorry, I lost where I was reading. Perhaps one of the most iconic account, and the one that is featured on the cover of the book Silent Invasion, is one that story, when told, is told never really told completely. Many variations exist, even in Stan Gordon's book, and some of the details are missing or altered to protect the eyewitness. Yet, even with these discrepancies, the tale is extremely harrowing and one of the most fucking weird cases outside the Mothman flap. So...
And I want to see Mothman's flaps. I think that's what everyone in the cryptozoology field, from researchers to documentarians to people who have podcasts and who are idiots, all want to see Mothman's flaps.
His one flap. He only has one.
No, he has two.
You sure?
Positive.
Have you seen
Point
it?
Pleasant, Chicago. That's two different areas.
I think they mean the like area.
Yes, that'd be two different areas.
His one flap area.
No, it's not a one flap area.
It's a one flap area.
It's not though.
It is.
It's it's not, and you know that it's not.
Anyway.
We're not moving along until you fucking understand this shit. Mothman was primarily sighted where?
In Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yeah.
He's now being primarily sighted in Chicago, Illinois.
He's also been seen.
No, primarily recently.
Oh.
Like he's been sighted in other locations. That's not a flap. I'm saying multiple sightings in the same location would be considered a flap of sightings. Therefore, it is two flaps, and I want to see Mothman's two flaps. I know it's hard for you to count to two.
Rude.
We have a supernatural true crime podcast. We're both stupid, but one of us has to know how to count. At least to two.
Not me. I can't even do math, so.
I know.
You can do math. You can do math more than I can.
Nah, no, kind of.
More than I can.
Ask me a math question. I'll answer it. Any math question. Literally anything.
I don't know any math questions.
Just hit me the simple equation.
What's 35 plus 35?
Yeah, we can just move on. It's not. We don't need to do this right now. I don't think this is important. I don't think it's good for the pod.
70.
I think we can just continue on. You said it's 70?
Yeah.
You said 35 times 35?
No, 35 plus 35.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the. See?
Makes the bit that much funnier.
Just continue. Just get on with it. It's fine.
That worked out really well.
We're so fucking smart.
So Uniontown, which is located in Fayette County, is no stranger to bizarre phenomena. And in the 70s, the entire state seemed to kind of have a ton of fucking weird beasts and perplexing phenomena. It was on October 25th of 1973, however, that the small rural community would be plunged into chaos as the night darkened and the stars shined. It was on this dark night, around 9 p.m., that 22-year-old George Kowalczyk? Sounds about right. It's got letters that I don't know how to say when they are put together. It's CZYK.
Yeah, Walczyk.
Kowalczyk?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Skawich, CZ, or WYCZ. It's like which at the end. It's very weird. Polish names are hard.
I've never heard that name.
Skawich?
Yeah.
You have. One of my best friends in the world is named Von Skawich.
Yeah. I was like,
Why do you think I call him VT? Because his last name is fucking impossible to say.
I'm calling you out. So you can also find him in sources under the name Steve Palmer or Steven for the sake of anonymity in the books. However, earlier newspaper accounts and later documentaries actually reveal his true name. He was driving home on a rural dirt road with his wife when he noticed that the stars were not alone in the sky surrounding fields and farmlands of Uniontown. The young man, who Stan Gordon would describe as being over 6 foot and weighing some 250 pounds, wore glasses and was soft-spoken, noticed a peculiar sight that perplexed him as he drove home. there was in the sky an object seemingly flying around 100 feet above the ground. It looked like a bright reddish orange ball and seemed to be heading in the same direction as he was heading towards in a small area where his father's house was situated. He managed to follow this object on the dirt road and noticed that its trajectory was dead set to his own as he pulled up to his father's house, and he saw that his family was already outside on the porch watching the eerie light as it slowly started to move over his father's field. So, he's seeing this fucking object, and he's like, that shit's going where I'm going.
Wait a second.
Hold on. Yeah, so it's fucking just...
He starts going a little faster, and he's like, I'm not letting this piece of shit take my fucking parking spot. You snooze, you lose, bitch. It's like, oh.
While he was more focused on the object and his family, they were not alone in observing this craft, as most of the neighbors had also come outside, proceeded to sit and stand in various yards and porches to watch the anomaly.
Oh, look at that anomaly.
They were...
That's a big anomaly.
They're like, I fucking heard something outside. You want to go be nosy? Yeah.
Hey, Ted, you see that anomaly?
Yeah, I did, actually.
Oh, I fucking love anomalies.
It's like, that's such a move right there to just go stand out on your porch and be like,
Yes.
huh. Look at that.
You ever seen any weird lights in the sky?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I had a dream about it once, though.
Okay. So, no would have sufficed. I had a dream one time where I saw weird lights in the sky. So, no? The answer's no? The answer's no? Okay. Yeah, no.
It was a very vivid dream, though, and I actually, I don't know if it was a dream or real life, but it's fine.
You probably got abducted by aliens.
Maybe.
Nice. Join the club. That was kind of weak. Let's try that again. There we go. Look at that.
I should have switched it up on you last minute.
No, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, I should have. It would have been funny to me. So there were approximately 15 people who would witness the craft from a distance, but for George, he would have a more horrifying and up-close encounter with the unknown object. George pulled out of his parents' driveway and pulled into another neighbor's yard to watch as the object descended from a different angle. As he watched the object from the safety of his truck, he noticed that the object was no longer soaring above the ground, but was slowly descending. The object dipped lower and lower in the sky until it ultimately seemed to land in his father's pasture. Yet from where he was positioned, he could not see the object outside of an orange glow that illuminated the spot. Hold on. Sorry, I'm dumb. It was around that time that he returned to his parents' house and discussed the object with his family. George would talk about this in an interview later on, which would appear on the Small Town Monsters Invasion on Chestnut Ridge documentary. That's such a long name. Fucking, just like we always say,
Shorten it down.
shorten it down.
Shorten it down. Chestnut Ridge Invasion. Decent name.
Would have been good, except it's Small Town Monsters Invasion on Chestnut Ridge.
I'm gonna fucking invade your Chestnut Ridge for making that title for so fucking long, dude. How do you like them apples? Also, let's move this. There we go. Like that.
It's fine. We're only slightly choking the dog out.
Oh, that's why we can't move, because she's in the way.
Yeah.
She's completely asleep while we're talking about Chestnut Ridge.
She's done. She's out for the day. Quote, my wife looked...
My wife. Mm-hmm.
My wife looked, and we was astonished.
I was like, all right, you're misreading that.
Nope.
No. My wife looked, and we was astonished. We saw it. I don't know how Pennsylvanians sound. How do Pennsylvanians sound?
Like Pennsylvanians? I don't know.
I've ruined you as in your humor.
Yeah.
Stupid. Dumb. But it's right.
So, and stopped and then drove up to the house. So we all looked off the porch and we watched it as it was coming down slow. It was making some kind of humming noise then. My mother and them was there and they was a little bit scared.
They was a bit scared.
So I said, well, I'll go down and look and see what I can see from down there. So I went and down pulled up in their driveway.
Hey, listen,
I'm struggling.
let me hand it to me.
You got it?
Allow me. I can speak idiot.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll go down there and look and see what we can see from down there. So I went down and pulled into the driveway, and I'm looking up at upon the hill. And all I could see was a glow reflection off the ground. I'm going to have to go back to my house, I said. I'll go up down to the field and check. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Trying to read that, I was struggling.
I can speak stupid.
I mean, it works. So this decision was not met with any known hesitation from the rest of the family, but two 10-year-old twin boys who they don't really know for sure because there's discrepancies in the account, were possibly George's nephews, whose names Rick and Nick followed with more curiosity than fear, asked George if it would be all right to go up with him to the ridge.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick, Nick, and George are going to the ridge, it sounds like.
To fetch a pail of water.
I don't think that's how the story goes.
Oh, okay.
George said that it would be fine. So he's like, you know what? Yeah, why don't you come see the glowing orange object with me that I don't know what it is.
Now, Rick and Nick, all right? Listen to Uncle George right now, okay?
Yep,
you listen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a fucking ominous light coming from the ridge line, okay?
Yeah.
We don't know what it is. We don't know where it's from.
Yeah.
It could be untold danger.
Yeah.
So grab your coats because we're going up in like 15 minutes. Actually, we'll go up back. Yeah, you know what? You probably listen. Not we'll just.
I don't need my coat. We can
Well,
go now.
probably as you're walking, probably won't matter. So we'll start walking. Be all right.
Okay. Where are these children's parents to just let them go with their uncle to go look at strange lights in the pasture?
Probably doing one of these. Like, there's a light in the sky.
Probably. So the trio promptly went to George's house on North Gallatin Ave and then returned to the farmhouse where George grabbed his father's 3006?
30-06.
30-06? I don't fucking know. I don't know shit. I'm going to just leave it at that.
It's a 30-06.
I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know guns. I don't know nothing. And some ammunition, 6 bullets in total, and 2 of those being tracers. The group, now armed and determined to investigate the light, started to drive down an old dirt road on his father's property, which, surprise, this is a decision they'd come to regret if you weren't paying attention.
I wasn't.
I know. So as the group slowly drove down the road, they noticed that every dog in the area was agitated. Every dog
agitated.
Every dog was barking and howling, whining, and acting bizarre, as though there was a predator in the area. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
As they drove along the road, they could hear the whirring from the craft still, but the sound was not alone, for in close proximity to the whirring noise, which George would describe not unlike a lawnmower, a second set of sounds that, like of a mournful baby's cry, echoed through the woods and fields. That right there is enough to make me not go.
Yeah, I'm immediately out.
There's like a lawnmower and then just baby crying, and you're like, yeah, no, fuck that.
Well, you're just you're hiking through the woods and you just hear the.
I hate how...
And then meanwhile in the background, on top of that, you're it's just super loud. You're like, oh my God, someone's teaching the baby how to lawnmower.
I was thinking they were mowing over babies, but
It is Pennsylvania.
our brains went in different directions.
Yeah. Sick fuck. Oh, that's baby mowing fields over there. How do I think baby food's made?
Oh, gross.
Food made out of babies.
It's actually just pureed beef. Which I think I might
That's
eat
my
more.
rap name.
Pureed beef?
Yeah. Yeah.
Find them on Spotify.
Check me out. Find me on SoundCloud.
Actually? Yeah, I was going to say, SoundCloud.
Check me out on Zune. All right. Anyway.
So George was disturbed more by the second set of sounds than the first. Because one's a lawnmower, one's a baby crying. I'm going to say the baby crying is a little more concerning. Get it? But he continued to drive his truck down into a position where the headlights of the truck could light a path, helping them see as they worked their way up the hill where the craft landed. Allergies are killing me today. It rained. I'm fucking dying. The trio began their trek up the hill, but as they were walking, they noticed something peculiar. Their headlights seemed to flicker as though the battery was being drained. George, however, was not worried, seeing that the house was a short distance away and several neighbors were also close by. So if something happened, he could easily get help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just dying over here. It's fine. The group made their way to the top of the hill, and as they reached the hill's peak, they found what they were looking for.
A Walmart on top of the hill was up there all along.
It wasn't a Space City Craft. It was a Walmart.
It was a super Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as opposed to the smaller ones.
The neighborhood markets?
Smaller.
They have Walmart smaller than the neighborhood market?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I'm not a Walmart historian.
You should be.
Is that what's gonna take for you to love me? Is if I know the history of Walmart, because I worked at Walmart. Samuel Walton.
Are you Walmart?
I'm not Walmart.
Are you sure you're not Walmart?
If I was, you think it would be? You think our fridge would be fucking broken and all of our food would be destroyed right now? I think I'd have no money to fix a fridge.
You reminded
So, no.
me about the sadness
I'm not
of our
Walmart.
fridge. So George and the boys were perplexed. The object, which was about the size of a barn, so actually about the size of a neighborhood Walmart, was completely different than what they had seen in the sky only a short time earlier. The craft, which while in flight had a rusty orange or red and was orb-shaped, was now a glowing white object that was flat on the bottom and domed on the top. It's one of those new fancy schmancy Walmarts. The whirring sound of the object continued still, and the group could approximately measure the object as being 100 feet in diameter. The air around the object was highly illuminated. It was so bright that George and the boys could see everything around them. The object also seemed to have been burning or released some sort of chemical into the air, because the entire area smelled like rubber.
Like burning rubber?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you got a lawnmower, babies crying, and it smells like burnt rubber. So what does that tell you?
Typical night in Pennsylvania? I don't know. I'm not sure what that tells me, other than, I find it very funny that he's like, I know for certain it's 100 feet in diameter. Right. Mm-hmm. Versus them being like, go up on yonder on the hill. Go see what that light be. I don't think so. He related it to the size of a barn.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be properly measuring shit. Hear me out.
Americans will use anything other than
How many bananas wide? How many bananas
per
wide?
scale.
Yeah. How many? I'll do some math. You continue.
Yeah, you go ahead. So as the group looked, see, you're good at math. I'm horrible at math. I can never tell you how many bananas a barn is. So as the group looked on at the seemingly transformed ship, one of the twins' attentions was drawn to some bizarre movement to the right of them next to a long barbed wire fence made from railroad ties. The twin would look back to George and his brother, noticing the moving form proclaiming, "Here comes something along the fence."
Okay.
The figure was slowly moving its way towards them, its form slowly becoming more and more revealed by the luminescent object. George would describe the figure and its movements thusly. Oh, God. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. I'm going to struggle here. I'm looking, and I can see the movement of the thing and from this glow of this ball. So when it got within maybe 50, 60, maybe 70 feet, I looked at it, and there was this object walking. It was real tall, and it seemed like it was walking real slow, but taking long strides. I mean, there was movement slow in the body, but the strides looked... I'm watching it. And here it's following the fence. Every time it would get to another fence post, it would make its noise. And then I seen why it was making this noise for this thing behind it. Another one to come up right behind it. Soon as the second one would get to it, it would proceed up to the next fence post. You're welcome. Did you understand any of that?
The answer is 7,200 bananas. I think.
You think? It does seem like a lot of bananas.
It does seem like a lot of bananas. Well, you said 100. You said it was 100 feet wide, right?
Yeah, 100 feet in diameter. How long is the average banana?
They said 6.
6 inches?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I guess. If that's what your mouth told you.
Let me do the math again.
So this figure whose bizarre movements he was encapsulated by were taller than the railroad ties. One he estimated about 8 feet, and the other was a smaller figure which followed up behind the big one as it waited for the childlike cries it was making, or that it would make, was only 7 feet tall. So, Mom, it's baby, I guess.
720. That seems more correct.
That seems more right.
not 7,000 bananas wide. My math was off. Sorry. I know people come here for their... Now if someone's like... Now it clicks. So...
It's still a lot of bananas, but significantly less bananas.
It's quite a bit less. The...
I was like, it might take 7,200 bananas to build a barn.
Well, let's see. It's 72. It's about 6,480 bananas shorter. Now, so you see this like strange being just kind of walking.
Yeah, it's
7 feet tall,
making weird so the 8 foot one.
Like
the 8 foot one is in front, right? And
Yeah.
it's just making its way slowly. And then the 7 foot tall one's behind it, crying, as you do.
I get it. Not saying I don't understand. I get it.
They were a dark brown gray in color with no neck and glowing green eyes that were as big as a 50-cent piece. The most bizarre feature, however, was their arms that hung down to their feet, yet they walked bipedally. So,
Okay.
you got some long ass arms. Are you doing more math over there?
No.
Oh, good. The creatures continued to wail as they moved and seemingly moved in rigid fashion with the slow strides that George had described. When the creatures were approximately diagonally from George and the twins, one of the twins had finally had enough and started screaming in absolute terror. The terrified twin proceeded to run back to the house, all while the other twin was gripping George's leg, crying out, "Shoot it, shoot it!" George, not knowing what else to do, loaded the tracer bullets into the rifle and proceeded to fire one of the bullets above the head of the taller creature. Tracer flared over the creature's head and seemed to be the first time that the creatures noticed the group. The creatures stopped, stared at George and the boy as George proceeded to put another tracer into the chamber. Once completed in a swift pace, he fired the second final tracer above the creature. This time, the larger creature let out a brief whine and lifted its arm to the incoming tracer, almost in an attempt to like grab the bullet going over his head, which fucking honest God power move.
That is a power move. I was curious because I looked it up because I wanted to kind of know a little bit more about Pennsylvania. And there was like things that piss off Pennsylvanians, or Pennamites, as they are sometimes referred to as. And apparently, if you make fun of their sports teams. And I found that kind of funny because I didn't know they had sports teams. So that's cool. Good for them.
They have sports teams?
Apparently. And then, probably not good ones. But then, just trying to see if we could piss off. And Punxsutawney Phil, dude. That's all that matters. That's all I know. Huh?
If you make fun of Punxsutawney?
No. Just about Punxsutawney Phil. That he exists.
Yeah.
That's it. Forgot.
You forgot about Punxsutawney Phil?
Usually don't think about Punxsutawney Phil
You know he's wrong most of the time?
Yeah. There's a possum that's more correct.
I was going to say, there's a fucking possum. And I told you about this possum before, and you were like, because I told you about this possum, and you were like, excuse me?
Yeah. And I find, the reason I find that as an excuse me is why are we using a animal to determine whether or not it's still going to be a winter when we have high-tech satellite imagery and all those other meteorological things?
Because it's fun.
All right. Say no more.
I literally don't have to.
Thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Uh-huh.
The big creature reached up, tried to grab the bullet. However, as soon as the tracer would have made contact with the creature's hand, the pasture suddenly became dark. George looked over and where once the UFO had stood was nothing. The white domed object was gone, and in its place was simply an orangish glow that was low to the ground. The area also became deathly silent. The lawnmower-esque sound was gone, and all of the nature seemed to be holding its breath. The two creatures then, as George was trying to figure out how an object the size of a barn could disappear, proceeded in turning around and heading back to the area of the woods from whence they came.
It's understandable.
So, creature goes to grab a bullet right as it's about. Barn gone. Creature's out of there. No one's sticking around.
That's so, like, that's what's really unique about this case, because usually, like, it'd be like them running back, they get in the ship, and then they're like, and then they're just gone.
Yeah.
Like, almost in a flash.
The ship left without them.
But it was more so just like, and then it's like nothing. It was not even that, just a void of anything.
Yeah.
It's like it was never actually there.
Except for a low, like, orange glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Like, Like, yeah, like the aliens didn't even have a chance to like get back on the ship. They
They're like,
were
they're shooting
ditched.
fireworks at us. And they're like, Steve is shooting a fucking gun at you. He's shooting a goddamn gun at you. And he's like, shit. Click. And he's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the creatures just turned around. They were like, okay, I guess we're going. Because, we can't get back to the ship now. And as the creatures were leaving, George shot 3 more bullets at the larger of the two and hit it twice, actually. George knew he had hit the creature for when the bullets hit, quote, it sounded just like shooting into a lake or something like water plopping.
Ugh.
The creature then turned and stared at George for a little bit, but gave no impression that the weapon had hurt it.
Fuck that.
You
Bro,
shoot
if I shoot him with a 30-06 twice and all it does is look at me, I'm not shooting a third fucking round of it. I'm leaving.
See, it just gives the vibe that the creature was just disappointed.
Yeah.
He was like trying to make friends. And then he shot it, and the creature's just like, how fucking dare you? What the fuck? And it just leaves. The witnesses soon began to feel a burning and itching sensation in their eyes. Everyone got pink eye, maybe. So as they watched the creatures turn around and return to the woods, that's when they started feeling their fucking eyes burning. So the two began to run back to the truck and headed back to the farmhouse. After attempting to figure out what to do and recollecting their wits, the group proceeded to run over to their neighbor's house to use the phone with the sole purpose of calling the state troopers. It was 9:45 when an officer by the name Byrne showed up at the scene. This officer later says the thing that fucking just I love. So after listening intently to the group's story and the rest of the witnesses' reports of seeing a UFO, the officer asked George to accompany him to the area where he saw the UFO and the creatures. When the officer pulled up to the area, he could see that the area was still illuminated by some light source or another. Wanting to make sure that this was not caused by some mundane source, particularly his headlights, he moved his car, and to his amazement, the light source was still there. The group, as they walked through the pasture, noticed that all the cows were keeping their distance from this glow. Even the cows said, "You guys are fucking stupid." As well as all the other animals in the area were not about it. The officer coming to the area soon began taking notes and investigating the anomalies that he could see. He focused primarily on the glowing area where the craft was. He noticed the glowing area was 150 feet in diameter and extended about 12 inches from the ground. The officer noted that it was so bright that if he had a newspaper, he could have easily read the newspaper.
So, very bright.
9:45 at night.
Yeah.
And he could fucking read a newspaper if he wanted to.
Which is the most interesting thing to do in Pennsylvania. So, he would have loved that.
The most interesting
go
thing
out
to
in the
do
woods,
in Pennsylvania.
go out there and have a cheeky little read the newspaper day, So cheeky. Officer
Did you even hear me?
No.
I said I think the most interesting thing to do in Pennsylvania is leave Pennsylvania.
Apparently they as I've been reading, apparently they like to eat this stuff called let's see, what was it called? It's called Scrapple.
Isn't that a board game?
Not to be confused with Scrabble, but Scrapple. Scrapple is a type of breakfast meat made of pork scraps and cornmeal. It's often seasoned with spices and formed into a loaf, sliced and fried. And I was
It's just like a form of meatloaf.
Scrapple.
They couldn't call it meatloaf.
So this officer is probably going to get back to the station, cut him a slice of scrapple, read a newspaper, and looking for places to move out of state.
His wife packed him scrapple for lunch.
My wife packed me scrapple and coleslaw for lunch. We're going to like coleslaw a lot.
Yeah. So
Also, the person says, like, what is one thing about Pennsylvania that will confuse other? And then one person says, the only thing I will add to the answers already it's given is that I know that is a Philly thing to say John, like, hammer to John with the long handle. I went down and got a cheesesteak where that John was banging. Doesn't explain what that means. I guess Philly is in Pennsylvania.
it is actually, yes.
City of brotherly love and racist.
I was gonna say Philly cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. I can't remember if it's Philly or Boston. It's one of the most it's America's most racist city.
I feel like
Probably both.
I was gonna say it's probably Boston.
Yeah.
So he noticed that he could barely see the light, and that the temperature inside the glowing area was much warmer than outside. But later, he felt he might have attributed that to excitement of the time. The trooper soon began to notice George, the longer he was in the area, seemed to behave strangely and on edge. He was extremely upset about all this, sweating profusely, while the officer continued to conduct the investigation. George, terrified, said to Byrne. It was George that said this. Sorry, I'm stupid. George said, I don't get paid to be brave. I'm not going any further.
That's true. That's very true. Man speaking facts.
He is. The trooper soon felt that he had to get George out of there and that he could finish giving his statement back at the police station. The two decided, therefore, to head back and finish their investigation at the safety of the barracks. As the two head back, George got the ominous feeling of being followed, and he paid close attention to the sound of their footsteps. He noticed that this was most certainly the case. He told the trooper about it, and as the two listened, they could distinctly hear a large set of footprints that would move when they moved and would stop. That would move when they moved, and when they would stop, would only take a few steps before stopping also. How's that make you feel?
Don't like it. Did you know there's a thing called Pittsburghese? Because I was curious. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about Pennsylvania.
For all the times that you talk about Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Warsh. Say Warsh.
You know,
Washington.
I have
George Washington.
I have a lot of family that says Warsh.
And they're fucking wrong. So
a lot of my family is from the boonies, though, so
they speak the same way. Yeah, it's very funny. Going down to the jungle, see the fire. Come on now. It's more Cajun, but
yeah, you get
the idea.
Cajun at the
Now,
end. Yes.
I don't like it. I don't like anything that's happening right now.
Yeah, me neither. So George still had his 30-06 with him during this outing and proceeded to put the last bullet into the chamber. The men, as he did this, proceeded in hearing something large in front of them. So the officer flicked on his flashlight and caught in the beam 10 feet away the larger creature George had seen earlier that hour. George picked up his gun and fired the last round, and the creature, this time, it seemingly took effect as the creature started to rock back and forth, as if the bullet managed to offset its balance. However, short-lived, as the creature began studying itself, proceeded in charging after the men from the other side of the fence and running straight into the barbed wire. I don't like any of what's happening.
I don't like anything what's happening either.
Good thing the officer turned on his fucking flashlight, though.
Yeah. It's like, can you imagine it'd be a lot scarier if I turn my flashlight off right now? Wouldn't that be scary, guys? Wouldn't that be fucking scary me while everyone's like freaking the fuck out to begin with?
Well, okay, so they thought they heard footsteps behind them, and maybe it was a smaller one. But then as he's putting the bullet in, the creature is 10 feet away in front of him.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that it's like ahead of, it's potentially
Behind you,
potentially behind you, so you're like, fuck. And so you put your round in, you bolt your rifle, look up, and it's 10 feet in front of you. That's from here to there, over there.
Yeah. No fucking
Pretty
thing.
close.
Yeah. So the creature ran into the barbed wire fence.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great choice. And then the men picked up their pace as they made their way to the patrol car and, speeding like a bat out of hell without looking back, made their way to the station, said, fuck everybody.
He left his 2 nephews in the woods.
Well, one ran back to the house, so.
That he thinks. It was collected.
Ooh.
By the Bigfoot.
The Bigfeet.
Yes, the Bigfeet.
So when they arrived at the station, the other troopers listened in disbelief to the account their brother in blue was telling them, and also what George was. The officers then separated the 2 men, and in a way of verifying their stories after they had just heard both of them die at the same time.
Yeah, and it was something like this. I'll be the officer, you be George.
Yeah.
And we're explaining to our friends here what we saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was this like alien, and like there was it came down, and like it had like light. There was so the ground was fucking glowing, and when I showed up, and like I got out, and I was like, well, my headlights. It wasn't my headlights, and we started trekking, and then he fucking brought a gun out, and then like,
and then we went to leave.
It was like that,
and then he turned on the flashlight, and it was there.
And then I ran away. Did you guys get that? Yeah.
So they then separated them, put them in different rooms, and was like, okay, tell us the story again. Maybe not overlapping with each other. After the interview, the officers realized that both stories matched identically, and so the officers felt they were way out of their fucking league.
Well, that's a big head scratcher now, isn't it, boys? Well, nothing can be done. It's kind of like the Mothman story.
Yeah.
Where like they come into the police department and they're like, we're being chased by a fucking winged monster, and it was flying up our car and it scratched my car up and did all this crazy shit, and they're like go out there, Depp, and he's like, okay. Fine, and he goes out there and he hears something big and heavy land in like the coal yard next to him, and he was like, nope.
Crazy.
never went and checked it out.
Yeah. I mean, okay, to be fair, like robberies, accidents, and murders were something they could absolutely handle, but UFOs, giant green-eyed, seemingly bulletproof ape men, kind of a different story, right?
And a groundhog that knows how to read the weather.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, granted, considering everything that this small town police station has ever dealt with, I think they might be out of their league. Mm-hmm. It was about 10:30 when officers reached out to paranormal investigator Stan Gordon. Mr. Gordon here.
Mr. Gordon.
The officer told Stan the whole story and even said the witness was still at the station, and that he might want to investigate this event. I really like that these officers are like, I know who to call. Mm-hmm. They're like, this is too much for us. Let me get my buddy Stan on the phone. I think he might be able to help us.
Yeah.
So the officer was concerned and noticeably shook on the phone. And so Gordon decided to put together a team and head out that very night. Gordon then went and assembled a team of 5, including himself, of members from the Westmoreland County UFO Study Group, or as many people refer to it as WCF-FOSG.
Yeah, fucking no. How about that? Like names like MUFON? Great. Love it. Nope. Definitely not. Oh, sober person in Pennsylvania. Like,
Sounds great.
Oh, UFO network? Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. So the members were George E. Lutz, a former Air Force pilot and officer, Fred Pitt, a photographer, David Smith, a physics teacher, and Westmoreland County Civil Defense Radiation Defense Officer, and then Dennis Smeltzer, who's a sociology major.
So most of the time, when it comes to UFO teams,
Yeah.
just like Steve works in accounting, stuff like that. It's like Bill runs a fucking lawnmower / refrigerator repair services.
Yeah.
But this is actually a pretty stacked team. I'm actually shocked.
Yeah, it's actually not bad.
Some people I would actually trust with something like this.
Yeah. Listen, Stan knows how to pick them.
He does. Good job, Stan.
So the group traveled to Fayette County to meet up with George at the local mall. It was not to go to Hot Topic. It was actually to talk about the case. It was 12:45 a.m. when the group reached the mall. Auntie Anne's was sadly closed.
Damn it.
And George was already waiting for them along with his father. The trooper who also encountered the glow and the Bigfoot was not available as he decided to turn in since he had to wake up early the next day.
That's fair.
You know that man did not sleep when he got home.
No, it's not a fucking chance. I mean, like, imagine...
He didn't sleep. He fucking went home and he just laid in bed.
He goes home to his wife and he gets into bed and just like, it's like, oh, rough night? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, what happened? Something bad happened? He's like,
kind of.
saw a Bigfoot. Like, cool. That's cool.
Can we talk about this tomorrow?
Yeah. Damn, that sounds really scary. Anyways, good night.
That gives me our camping trip vibes.
Yes, it does.
And I still feel so bad. I don't remember this at all, so I had to have been still asleep.
Little side story. Camping with the family a couple of years ago and got pretty drunk. Making cocktails for everybody, and then I got way too drunk and I fell face first into a bush, and then puked everywhere, and then basically had to get carried back to my tent where Taylor was asleep. I get in my tent and immediately lay down and immediately know I need to puke, and so I crawl out of my tent. I'm so drunk I can't stand, so I'm crawling on my hands and knees, and then I lay on the ground sideways, and I'm puking in the dark in the woods, and I'm like, Tay, can you wake up? And she's like, yeah, what? And I was like, I'm just kind of fucking, kind of spooked right now, just kind of scared because I'm puking a lot and, just need someone to be here with me. And she's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? And I've never forgotten it.
I absolutely would never do that if I was fully conscious. Absolutely not. I don't remember this at all.
I now know my worth. I would have immediately gotten up.
I don't remember this. I don't think I actually woke up.
I would have gotten up and would have,
You know how many times you've talked to me in your sleep?
Yeah, but that's different.
I genuinely don't think I woke up. Mm-hmm. I don't remember any of this.
Sounds to me like a cop-out. Now let's get back to the story.
The next day you were so mad and I didn't know why. I was like, I'm sorry. I felt so awful about that. So while at the mall, Stan and his crew unpacked their gear and began taking notes from George and his father, and also did some residual tests on George. They used radiation meters to see if he was radiated at all from the encounter. However, there were only background radiation levels detected. After all this, the group made their way back to George's farm and proceeded on working their way back to where George encountered the UFO and the creatures. The entire party consisted of George, his father, Stan, his crew, George's dog, obviously, who was a German Shepherd named Ricky, and Nikki.
Who?
A man named Nicky.
Okay.
I think that's one of the children.
Okay.
I think it's Nick.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they called the twins Rick and Nick. I don't remember because I have the fucking brain of a squirrel. Are they sure they didn't confuse the names with the dog?
No, I don't think so.
you think it's just a family? Like, he's got
It's my
nephews.
sons, Rick, Nick, and Fido.
He's got his nephews.
Nick is the dog. My son's name is Fido. My bad.
And he gets a dog, and he's like, I know exactly what I'm gonna name
This is my son, Toaster Oven.
Nick, Rick, me, Ricky.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so absurd.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but when they got to the actual area, the boys. Oh, okay. The German Shepherd's name is not Ricky. It's I just didn't see the comma. It's the twins, Ricky and Nikki. We don't know the dog's name. So when they got to the truck, the boys were told to stay near the car. The boys, though, weren't the only thing left behind. However, as when George had said about wanting to bring his rifle with him, Stan insisted he leave the gun at the car, which he did end up doing. When they left the car, they noticed that the hillside was dark, and the glow was completely gone. The group stood in a circle discussing the plan, and decided that the best plan of action was to test the area for radiation. The group proceeded in testing the area and found that, just like with George, the area was lacking any significant radiation levels.
Interesting.
The group, while performing this test, however, did notice that the cows were still in the pasture and refused to come anywhere near the area and kept their distance from where the UFO had been. This group proceeded in searching the massive area where the UFO was and could find literally zero evidence. It was the same along the fence line, as they could not find any footprints, hair, or other imprints in the ground. We are now at 1:45 in the morning. It's been a long night. When Stan Gordon and fellow researcher George Lutz decided to go and record the full investigation. George and his father were standing down by the truck watching the investigators do their research when the two happened to notice something bizarre by the farmhouse. The two noticed a bright white light about several hundred feet away that seemed to engulf the house. The light only lasted a few seconds, but it was as bright as daylight before disappearing. The two told the group about the bizarre anomaly, so Lutz ended up driving George's father down to the farmhouse to see if they could figure out what had caused it. Lutz had taken a radio with him just in case there was an issue, but once he had done a checkup around the house, he returned almost immediately. It was around 2 a.m. of their investigation, which outside of that bright light flash, pretty uneventful. However, started to become fucking weird again. The group had begun to walk the fence line where the Bigfoot-like creatures were seen. The group searched for any hair or evidence of the creatures. But as they stared out at the adjoining field, they noticed a large bull did not seem concerned with them or their investigation. The animal instead seemed to be more concerned with something that was ahead of the group. spooky. I don't like it.
So it's looking, because animals, like especially bovine animals, they'll focus on, they have pretty decent vision from what I understand. See snakes and shit in the grass and everything.
Yeah.
Now it's 1:45 in the morning. It's basically pretty much pitch black, right? But it's seeing something past them.
In front of them.
In front of them.
It's watching something in front of... The bull does not care about them. It cares about what's in front of them.
Don't like that.
Which, bulls are pretty like... You know? They see a person, they're like, square up.
Yeah.
Most of the time. There's some nice bulls out there. But some are pretty...
Like Top Dollar? You know Top Dollar?
Yeah. Top Dollar is a nice bull.
PBR bull.
Yeah.
Love him.
I like Top Dollar.
Big old puppy.
I don't know. I see videos about him on TikTok all the time.
Being a big old baby.
him.
Super cute.
He's very
But,
cute. There's a lot of bulls not like that, though.
yeah, I mean, cows kill more people a year than sharks, so.
I mean, I had a bull charge at me and my brother one time out at Little Crater Lake.
Oh.
It's great.
Swimming?
You don't swim in Little Crater Lake.
I don't know.
Have you ever been there?
I'm not from here. No. From Washington.
I don't know. It's a pretty cool little lake. It's fucking deep, but it don't look that deep. You can see all the trees that have fallen. You don't swim in it. It's super deep, super dangerous. But there's a farm next to it. Boy, oh boy. Bull was not happy. We didn't even do anything. We were just like, oh, look, there's a bull over there. And it fucking just started coming at us.
This story gets better, I swear. Now.
It did not get us. But after that, I don't trust bulls.
It's fair.
Except for Top Dollar. I would trust him with my life.
I agree. Now, what does this bull see?
So, as if on cue, as they move closer to the area, George's dog began to behave strangely as well. Began sniffing the ground and moved off through the path as if it was trailing something. It would move a distance, then stop at times, focusing its attention towards the woods. Let's ask George around where the creature had crashed into the fence after the second sighting. Let's then notice that George began to behave strangely, just as how the dog was. He would rub his face and began to experience some difficulties. So let's continue to ask about where the creature had hit the fence. But George remained silent and continued to rub his face. Let's ask him one more time before asking him if he was okay, but George remained silent the entire time. George was moving back and forth in a jerky manner as though he were going to faint. Let's yell to George's father that there was a problem with him, so the two ran up and held him so that they could sturdy him to avoid falling. As Lutz and George's father continued to support George, his condition seemed to turn for the worse as his breathing began to worsen. Where are you going, dog? The ailment, out of nowhere, however, was not the end, as George began to, I'm sorry, there's a fucking word missing in here. His head slunk down, and he started making a unnatural sounding growl, which sounded more animal than human. He's like, his head's like slunk down. First he's like rocking back and forth, and then he's it almost sounds like almost like a possession of sorts.
Yes, it sounds very possession-esque.
George then, in what can only be described as a feat of super strength, proceeded to throw both Lutz and his father onto the ground.
Fuck that.
George's dog then seemingly lost recognition of George, and began to run after George with the intent to attack.
Interesting. Not sure why your mic keeps cutting out.
I think partially the dog hit it. Just there. She's doing her best, and her best is fucking with everything. Hi. Oh, thank you. You can't really see her. I'm slinked over. Why am I over so far?
I don't know.
Did you want to come up here? You want to host? You can host the podcast. Come here. You want to get up here? You crawl over me to get up here. I know you see your dad. You gotta, you gotta not be stupid about it. There you go.
Hi.
That's what she wanted.
Took a nap. She's like, nah, I gotta say hi to Dad.
Yeah. She was like, Dad, you're here. It's crazy. You would never believe it. I didn't know you were here.
Look at that puppy dog.
She's so freaking cute. What the frack?
Yes.
So George's dog lost recognition of George and then started running after George with the intent to attack. George, who was running around the field like a madman, howling and screeching, seeing his once faithful companion coming after him, proceeded in turning towards the canine after chasing it, assumedly with the sole purpose of killing it. The dog, seeing that his owner was coming after him, turned tail and began running away, whimpering. Stan in the group, seeing the madness unfold, picked up the recording tapes and watched as George was running around, swinging his arms and unleashing bellowing, frightening growls. George's father called out to his son, and George unleashed a giant, inhuman-like scream as well as 3 more growls. Which...
Sam!
Also...
Sam!
You know.
I thank you for all the kills.
Sam.
I'm just going full like zombies. No.
I was thinking more like 3, like...
Yeah. It's all connected. It's all... Listen, let's go. Spirit, bring your head up.
Yeah.
It's all connected. There you go. It's all connected, Spirit.
She's so happy to just get snuggly.
Yes.
She loves it.
Mhm.
So the group sat back and watched this descent into Maelstrom. When Dennis Smeltzer soon began to feel ill as well. The color had left his skin, giving him a sickly pale hue, and he kept feeling as though he was going to faint. Seeing that Dennis was not well, Fred Pitt and David Smith rushed over. They rushed over the insanity field to aid their comrade, but as Fred got close to Dennis, he began heaving and felt as though he could not properly breathe. As the entire research group became ill, George's mad dash had finally come to a close, and he was still swinging his arms and growling as... but he, after a distance, dropped face down on the ground, his glasses flying off his face, and he continued to just lie still on the grass. Seeing a break in the madness, Stan rushed over to his team, and Lutz and George's father rushed over to the now crumpled pile that was George. I can't breathe. Oh, you yawned into my hand. Thank you. She's doing great. She's a good dog. She's comfy. Comfy dog. As the group began caring for the ill, each member soon noticed something peculiar that began to fill the air as if from nowhere. The air around them had become permeated with a sickening sulfur smell, almost like the smell of rotting eggs. As the smell arrived, George was starting to come to on the ground, slowly moaning, and saying phrases like, "Keep away from the corner, it's in the corner."
Great.
The corner of what?
The corner.
Yeah.
A corner in the corner.
Oh, good.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
They could interpret that George was trying to warn them to a presence only he could detect, saying over and over that there was something still here and that they needed to get out of the area. Stan Gordon decided that this was accurate, and after the bizarre behavior that had seemed to be caused by the area, decided that they should start leaving the area. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
So Lutz and George's father picked the man up and helped him head back to the trucks. And on the walk back, George was complaining of an ankle pain from either when he fell or when he was running in circles like a madman.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot happening right now. When George's father handed him back his glasses, George looked at them inquisitively and asked, whose glasses are these? And indicated that he could see just fine. He didn't need his glasses anymore.
Interesting.
Lutz noticed that George's hands were held in a tight grasping position. Please don't knock that over. Not unlike a cat clenching its paws. Lutz, concerned that the man might hurt himself or be hurting himself, proceeded to physically open George's fingers, but try as he might, he could not flex them out.
Interesting. How much more do we have left for this? It's gonna be a two-parter?
I think it's gonna be a two-parter. We
Holy
got like
shit.
half a doc left. So why don't we let's finish up just this last paragraph right
Let's do
here.
it.
And so as the group limped back, George soon started to talk about what had happened in the field. He said that he saw a black-robed, man-like figure in the field. It had a black hat, and in its hand, the entity was carrying what looked to be a sickle. George stared at the apparition, and began to speak to him, proclaiming that the world will end if humanity does not change their way. This entity would flash visions of the world burning before George. When his father told George that what he was doing in the field, all that he could say was that he didn't remember any of that, and instead insisted that during that time he was being flashed images of destruction shown by the dark-clothed entity.
It's a story as old as time when it comes to UFO sightings and people experiencing alien phenomena of them getting these images, or even aliens saying that, like, if humanity does not change your ways, you will experience a great loss that destroys all of humanity.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
You're so awkward.
Look at her.
She's awkward. Stop.
All right.
She said that's it. That's enough for this part.
Yeah, she's done. Well, Tay, that's fun part one.
Thank you.
Ready?
I didn't think it would be that long.
No, it's pretty long. I love it.
Good.
It's a lot of information.
Damn. Can you just sit here?
Don't. Okay, thank you.
You know what?
She's like, I gotta lick Dad's arms. All right.
Of course.
Good job, Spirit. Proud of you. Well, thank you so much for joining us in this week's episode of Haunts, Graves, and Omens. If you want to follow us, you can at HGOPodcast at Gmail and or Instagram and TikTok. HGOPodcast. You can email us at HGOPodcast@gmail.com. Go check out the doc. All my friends are Dick's episodes that are out on audio. So you want to follow me, you can on Instagram and I at the Haunted, and TikTok I at the Haunted, and sometimes Twitch. I'm out there sometimes, and I'll pass it off today.
I like how she stops when the camera switches. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lunar Thrill. We are not flashing the camera today, thank you. And then you can follow our dog at Spirit the Turf.
Spirit the Turf.
She's just a baby. She likes to...
Yeah, she heard her name. Hi, Spirit.
She's a good lady, just hanging out. Giving so many kisses.
And down in the links Oh my God! Down in the link still is all the GoFundMes and stuff like that for everybody. So please go check those out. But that was fun. Can't wait for the next week. Finish the story.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting.
Pretty exciting.
But remember to stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And what you saw was a bird.
I don't think it was a bird.
It wasn't a bird. It was a Bigfoot. Bigfeets.